tu versus vous. What's the difference and when do we use them? Keep watching to find out. Hi everyone, bonjour à tous, I'm Kashi and this is Let Us Learn French. If you're excited to learn the difference between tu and vous, give this video a big thumbs up, subscribe and hit the bell notification so you never miss a video from us. Let's jump into the video. In English, we use you when referring to the second person, whether we're talking to one person or a group of people. But in French, we have tu and vous, and we usually cannot use them interchangeably, or it can be perceived as rude in some cases. But what's the difference? In a nutshell, tu is informal and vous is formal, but that's not everything. First, if you're talking to more than one person, then you always use vous. Tu is never plural. So if there's more than one person, always use vous. Now, if you're talking to one person, that's when it can be tricky. As I said, tu is informal and vous is formal. And for some people, that explanation might be enough. But most of you might be thinking, that's good, but when do we know when to be formal or informal? Here are some basic guidelines. If you're talking to a friend, someone younger than you, like a child, or someone you're really close to, you would usually use tu. If you're talking to an older person, a stranger, usually an adult, or someone with authority or power, then you would usually use vous. Vous is polite and you would usually use it to show respect to someone, but who you use vous towards changes from culture to culture. In some cultures, grandparents are considered really close to us and you might call them by their name sometimes, and in such cases, you might refer to your grandma or grandpa as tu. But in other cultures, grandparents are considered a symbol of authority in the household or family, and you want to show them a lot of respect, and you would probably use vous in such situations. So in some cultures, children might say, "Comment vas-tu, grand-père?" While in other cultures, they would use "Comment allez-vous?" Tu shows a certain closeness, whereas vous is more polite and respectful, but there is also a certain distance associated with it. For example, there is a more solid boundary between you and a stranger, or you and your boss, compared to you and your best friend. So with a stranger or your boss, you would use vous, and your best friend, you would use tu. For example, vous m'avez appelé versus tu m'as appelé. Something to keep in mind though, just because someone refers to you as tu does not mean that you can also refer to them as tu. You might be thinking, wait, you said if we're close to someone, we can call them or refer to them as tu. But if you're close to them, then they're close to you, right? Well, yes, but remember how I also said that you would refer to someone with more authority as vous. I'll give you an example. A teacher might refer to a student as tu, but the student would refer to the teacher as vous. Since it's already expected that the teacher has more authority than the student, it is not disrespectful for them to refer to the student as tu, but it would be disrespectful for the student to refer to the teacher as tu. Does that make sense? Let me know in the comments below actually if you get it so far. If you're still unsure of when to use tu and vous, I like to think of it as this. If you're talking to someone and you can be yourself around them, you're comfortable, you can joke around and maybe even be sarcastic with them, you're probably in an informal situation and you can use tu. However, if you're talking to someone and you have to be careful of the way you behave and speak, and maybe you have to hold your tongue sometimes, then you're probably in a formal situation and you might want to use vous. You can also think of it like this. If you could run and hug this person when you see them, or you would run and hug each other, then you would probably use tu with that person. But if that would be inappropriate, then you would probably want to use vous. For example, you might run and hug your cousin, but probably not a cashier or a random police officer. If you find yourself in a situation where you still don't know if you should be using tu or vous, I would say just be safe and use vous. it's polite, respectful, and the person will not be offended. If that person thinks that you're being too formal, they will tell you, you can refer to me as tu. Usually we use the verb tutoyer for refer as tu, and the verb vous voyez for refer as vous. So if the person thinks you're being too formal with them, they might say something like tu peux me tutoyer, which is you can refer to me as tu. And that's okay. What would be more embarrassing is if the person told you something like je préfère que vous me vous voyez. I'd prefer if you would refer to me as vous, which means you're being too informal with them and they're not comfortable. So if you're in a situation where you really don't know what to use, I would say just use vous. I hope this helped. If it did and you now have an idea of the difference between tu and vous, please let me know down below and hit the like button. If you liked this video and found it useful, hit the subscribe button and turn on the bell notification so you're the first to know when we upload a video. Also follow us on Instagram at Let Us Learn French Official, where we post a new French word of the day every day. Thank you so much for watching until the end. I'll see you next Sunday. Take care.